welcome back to the last and final SuperCoach review video for the year. You're joining me, JD, for the round 24 review. And that's it. It's all said and done. The SuperCoach season is over. Before we jump into it, just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been part of the Fantasy Take TV community, that's watched these videos, that's commented, chatted to me on Twitter, said hi to me at games. There was a few of those this year, which was weird. And whatever else it has been. It's been a really fun year. Had ups and downs for me personally, but I think overall the community really, really did well. So very stoked with that. Like as someone that creates content, you can't always do well yourself, but if those around you are doing well, that's a sign things are going in the right direction. So yeah, we had I think 4 guys in the top 10. We took out, I mean, as it has been the case the whole year, we took out all the leagues. So I think I've got like 6 league wins, which was 6, 8, 10, 12, 18, 20, and we didn't enter the other 2 categories, which is good. The community had the top 11 20-man league, so lots of success across the board, which is really great. I did better in fantasy than I did in SuperCoach, where if I got a tab open, I do. I finished 34th, so second year, second hat. If you're not playing fantasy and you're interested, come join us next year. It's pretty good fun, and I find that if you've got good SuperCoach fundamentals, it translates well. But speaking of SuperCoach, I scored a 26.03 and I finished on an exact 56,000 points total for the year, which is kind of nice. I like round numbers. But unfortunately, it means I dropped outside just outside the top 400, which is pretty sad. I was hoping this would be a top 100 finish, and the last few weeks faded away. We had the liver concussion, obviously, and then this week we had Doherty's out, and unfortunately, that was probably the one line. Actually, it was the one line I couldn't cover. So that's just unfortunate. Like a Fletcher 53 would have been great. It would have kept me within the top 400, but is what it is. We traded aggressively and we fell 1 or 2 short in the end, which is, part of the challenge of trying to time that. It doesn't always work out. And then there were many big scores this week, like not having Sheasel and Sicily. It's been a killer over the last month. And then Cameron dropping the sub 60 score, which a lot of people had, but that's quite frustrating. As it turns out, I did I swapped the VC to Bontempelli because once the Cats team was named and like everyone was missing and they brought Stanley back in, it just seemed like Bont going for Brownlow would end up being the better vice captain option. And it was. I originally actually had the C on Butters, but didn't have to use it because we took that 146. And unfortunately, that was the wrong call. But I think my captain's average for the year was about 132, which is very happy with that. I think that's a good captain's average. I'll have to see if SuperCoach data updates like how well that ranked. I'm sure there were definitely some ahead, but it's up there. And I think pretty pleased with that score. But yeah, it was a weird week because scoring 2,600 with just 21 players is huge. I know there was someone that scored over 3,000 this week, which is absolutely insane. Like 22 players for a 3K score is just nuts. So especially if you're not captaining like a 200. And I thought the other thing that was interesting this week was for those that did save a trade all the way to the end, maybe you're playing for like league finals. I think there were lots of moves that could have made you some pretty good points this week. So anyone getting off DC, Taranto, for example, trading in Tex, Flanders, some really big scores there, which was cool to see. Those that like held on to their end for league finals and banked those trades who got rewarded. Doesn't really work like that for overall, but it was pretty cool. Look, this is the point in the video where I feel like reviewing the players doesn't really add much value because we're not making any trades next week. And I could start talking about players I want to start for next year, but we haven't really researched that, and there's a lot of water to go under the bridge in terms of who's going to get traded, who gets injured, all that type of stuff. But it's I think the things to call out that I'm already thinking about is the forward line and defense line to an extent are going to be interesting because there's a lot of players who are going to be losing DPP as pure mids. So if look at my forwards alone, I expect all of Goulden, Rosie, Cogs, Dunkley, and Taranto to lose their forward status. Actually, Cameron probably will as well, so none of those 6 will be there. I think Flanders will end up being probably the most popular pick to start next year. That's one I'm definitely looking at. I'm sure others will be in the same boat, but to see who pops up as the mid prices in that line might make it a little bit interesting. I think we had it quite easy this year in the fact that you could have started all of those, and Butters, who's in my midfield, will also lose DPP, and carried them throughout the whole year. Made the forward line quite trivial in some regards. In defense, you've got some of them that probably will lose defender status. I mean, I like Will Day will. Actually, maybe not. Dawson will, but then you're still going to have players like Sicily and Stewart, maybe even Sinclair that'll hold up in defense next year. But the last thing I was thinking about is a lot of the top mid prices haven't really underperformed that much or like lived up to being reasonably priced. So picking and like the way I play is like going for value. So picking Bont next year 130 average, even English at 128 average, these don't excite me. They scare me. So how we navigate that through the next preseason is going to be interesting. But these are all early thoughts. As I said, like we've got trade period, we've got draft, we've got first bits of preseason all to go through, which we'll cover and so much more in the 2024 preseason. But I just wanted to say once again, thank you for, watching my videos, subscribing, chatting to me, being part of the content, whether you liked it or didn't. Just being here with me has been great fun. So thank you so much. Enjoy your break, your time off, whatever it may be. And the next time you'll hear from me is probably going to be around like a trade or draft period or something like that. I might start talking about SuperCoach relevant or some of those things then. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2024. Peace.